The Venezuelan president, Nicolás Maduro arrived on Tuesday in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, as part of the beginning of a Eurasian tour with a cooperation agenda. A new migrant caravan left the southern border of Mexico on Monday, heading to the United States, is still on its way north. The Commission of Inquiry for the Occupied Palestinian Territories conducted an investigation revealing that the occupation, discrimination, and Israel's culture of impunity are the main causes of the prolongation of the conflict in the region. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. The Venezuelan president, Nicolás Maduro arrived on Tuesday in Ankara, capital of Turkey, as part of a beginning of a Eurasian tour with a cooperation agenda. Earlier, Turkish media announced that the president will travel to that country on June the 7th and 8th on an official visit at the invitation of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to strengthen ties of brotherhood and union between the two nations. Through his social networks, the Venezuelan head of government had asked to be attentive to the agenda of international activities.
Un nivel estratégico y un carácter robusto en más de 20 áreas estratégicas.
And after his arrival in Ankara, the Venezuelan president expressed on his official Twitter account, and we quote, "It is a great joy for me to start this international tour in the lands of the sister nation of Turkey. I am grateful for the warm welcome and the affection that they have shown us. I am sure that we will strengthen the bonds of union and cooperation between our peoples." And now move on to other topics. A new migrant caravan that left the southern border of Mexico on Monday, heading to the United States, is still on its way north. The exodus started off in the southern region of Tapachula, Mexico, this Monday, with between 7,000 and 15,000 participants from different countries of Latin America and the world. During the first stretch, the caravan advanced more than 8 kilometers and managed to pass the first immigration checkpoint, where some members of the National Guard and the migration were stationed. This new caravan takes place parallel to the Summit of the Americas, which is being held in Los Angeles, to which the United States arrives without fulfilling its promises to Mexico and Latin America to regularize migrants. On Tuesday, the Mexican Foreign Minister, Marcelo Ebrard, announced the main issues that the Latin American country will bring to the Summit of the Americas to be held in the U.S. city of Los Angeles. During a press conference, Ebrard said that his country will advocate for the inclusion of all and the mutual respect for the future of the Americas. Mexico will insist on the investment on several of the regions of Latin America and the Caribbean and labor mobility to confront migration. He will also call on the President of the United States, Joe Biden, on the need for unity among the countries that make up the region, given the White House's refusal to invite Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, which is why López Obrador will not attend the event.
What is it that we're going to propose? First, with regard to the future of the Americas, as our President of the Republic has just said, we have to move towards a new type of organization of the Americas, based on mutual respect and inclusion of all countries. The President has already explained it. I would simply say that this is like the guiding light of our proposal. All countries must be included, all must be respected. We must initiate a new stage in the organization of the Americas in order to search for our union.
Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard reiterated that the nations participated in the Summit of the Americas reject the blockade imposed on Cuba by the United States.
Regarding Cuba, we will insist that the blockade is inhuman, contrary to human dignity, ineffective, and has been condemned by all the countries that will be there, all the countries that will be at the summit. We all voted against it except the United States, so we are going to reiterate it and insist.
And now we go to El Salvador. There, environmental organizations mobilized to demand that the government of President Nayib Bukele fulfill its environmental commitments. The mobilization that took place within the framework of the 22nd Ecological Walk traveled through the main streets of the capital, San Salvador, with the intention of reaching the government house. However, elements of the Union of Maintenance of Order, UMO, placed barricades to prevent the advance of demonstrators towards the presidential house. The organizations expressed their concern about the environmental crisis affecting the country and denounced the lack of access to environmental justice. In the Dominican Republic, funeral services began for Environment Minister Orlando Jorge Mera, who was murdered last Monday at the hands of an alleged personal friend. In the morning, a service in commemoration of the Minister of the Environment was held at the National Palace, headed by the President Luis Abinader. Also present were members of the ministerial cabinet and Mera's relatives. The murder of Mera was perpetrated last Monday in his office by Fausto Miguel Cruz, a childhood friend of the minister who shot him several times and is already in custody. After what happened, the government informed that the investigations into the crime continue in order to determine the exact motive of the facts.
As a public employee and great friend of Orlando Mera, it's a great sorrow, a misfortune for the country, and we simply want to wish the family the necessary strength to overcome this misfortune.
How would you describe what happened regarding the insecurity ruling now in the country?
This has nothing to do with what is happening. It is something that happened between friends, two people who have known each other since they were little children and probably had a very beautiful family relationship, a very unfortunate situation, and we must give a lot of strength to that family.
And TeleSUR expands its signal with new satellite parameters. Since more than ever, the world connects to us and our stories are being heard in other farther away nations. These parameters are in place since June the 1st in Latin America and the Caribbean, both in English and in Spanish. And quite soon, further changes will be implemented for the signals in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This new multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and our faithfulness to their audience. We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. In Argentina, President Alberto Fernandez said that he will attend the 9th Summit of the Americas to defend the rights of the nations excluded from the forum in his role as president of the CELAC.
Here we work every day preparing to go to the Summit of the Americas, to defend the rights of Latin America. I'm going to defend the unity of Latin America. Unity is not to be declared. Unity is to be exercised. And the best way to exercise it is not to segregate anyone. So we're going there with this message. We deeply regret the absence of countries that are not invited, but as president of CELAC, we will try to bring their voices to that meeting.
From Cuba, President Miguel DiazCanel pointed out that the People's Summit is the true space for political and social participation of Latin American and Caribbean nations. In the past, on his official Twitter profile, President DiazCanel wrote that several political and social movements of Latin America and a wide participation of different sectors in the United States will gather in Los Angeles, California, to celebrate the People's Summit. This will be the true transcendental political event for our peoples. And the former president of Bolivia, Evo Morales, also joins the rejection of the exclusion policy carried out at the Summit of the Americas. In his official Twitter account, Evo Morales wrote that the latest version of the misnamed America Summit is born dead due to the absence of several broader residents and presidents who reject the arbitrary and unilateral exclusion of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua by the U.S. Instead of promoting integration, Biden provokes division. On his official Twitter account, Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez called the summit of the Americas being held in the U.S. city of Los Angeles a failure and a reflection of the U.S. foreign policy's loss of moral prestige and that of its hegemonic pan-Americanist system. The Cuban minister sentenced that our America has changed and only accepts relations based on equality, mutual respect, and without interference or exclusions. Now we move on to other topics. In Bolivia, authorities found over 40,000 Argentinian ammunitions that were sent during the administration of Mauricio Macri to support the coup actions undertaken against the government of Evo Morales in 2019. The information was provided by the Bolivian authorities, was confirmed by the ambassador of Argentina in Bolivia, Ariel Basteiro, who said that the discovery confirms the totality of the evidence of the crime. The diplomat explained that the ammunition was in the possession of the Bolivian Air Force and is in addition to the over 26,000 seized from the police force earlier. In this respect, investigators consider the finding as a significant advance for the investigation of the destination of the ammunition. Russian authorities informed on Tuesday about the arrival of the first cargo ships to the port of Mariupol for the grain shipment to other countries. Russian Defense Minister Sergey Shoigu and said that in Mariupol, as well as in other territories of the Donbass, the activities to establish a peaceful life continue. The official also emphasized that in the presidential and the residential areas of the city, the water and electricity supply is being restored in stages. The streets are being cleaned, and the first social services have started to operate. In this regard, last Sunday, the Russian President Vladimir Putin rejected the accusations of the West about the alleged guilt of Moscow for the inability of Kiev to export grain to other countries. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov began a two-day visit to Turkey for talks on unblocking grain exports from Ukraine. This is Lavrov's second trip to Turkey, after meeting his Turkish and Ukrainian counterparts Mevlut Cavusoglu and Dimitri Kuleba in Antalya on March the 10th. Lavrov was forced to cancel a visit to Serbia on Monday after several of its neighbors prevented his plane from passing through their airspace. At the request of the United Nations, Turkey offered its services to escort maritime convoys from Ukrainian ports despite the presence of mines, some of which have been detected near the Turkish coast. Lavrov will meet with Cavusoglu on Wednesday. At the heart of the negotiations is the opening of a security corridor to ship Ukrainian cereals and wheat. Russian Defense Minister Sergey Shoigu said that Moscow's troops are in full control of the residential areas of Severodonetsk, a key city in Ukraine's east region of Donbass.
A significant part of the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic along the left bank of the Seversky Donets River has been liberated, including the cities of Shatogorsk, Krasny Liman, as well as 15 other settlements. The residential areas of the city of Severodonetsk have been fully liberated. We continue to establish control over the city's industrial zone and the near settlements.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Commission of Inquiry for the Occupied Palestinian Territories conducted an investigation revealing that the occupation, discrimination, and Israel's culture of impunity are the main causes of the prolongation of the conflict in the region. The report points to Israel as responsible for the roots of violence through its failure to respect the laws and customs of war, including those of belligerent occupation, violations and abuses of individual and collective rights. The investigation also found that the Israeli authorities have shown a lack of commitment to upholding human rights and no respect for international humanitarian law. On Tuesday, a Syrian-Venezuelan meeting was held in the city of Damascus, Syria, to evaluate the development of bilateral relations between the two nations. The meeting took place between the members of the Syrian-Venezuelan Friendship Committee, the members of the Venezuelan Diplomatic Corps accredited in Damascus, and representatives of Venezuelan community in the country. During the meeting, a joint action plan was proposed to boost investments, improve the level of commercial exchange, and increase the economic, social, and cultural cooperation between both nations. All of this in order to raise the level of political relations and fraternal bonds.
We are certain that the scope of this agenda and the implementation of this agenda will contribute to the strengthening of the ties of friendship and fraternity that exist between Syria and Venezuela as brother countries who work towards the utopia of building a better world, which is possible when it is done from the heart. This is the first of a series of meetings that were scheduled starting today in order to follow up on the objectives of the Common Work Agenda and to be able to supervise and verify the realization of all the points that were raised today.
Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress Party, the APC, holds its primary election on Tuesday to choose a candidate for next year's presidential election. 23 personalities in the running for this primary hope to become the APC candidate for this election. The winner will face former vice president and the candidate for the main opposition's People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, among other candidates in February 2023. The PDP held its own convention last week, where 75-year-old Abubakar, an influential and wealthy Muslim politician from the north who was contested 5 times for the top job, emerged as the flag bearer. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari will step down next year after reaching his constitutional limit of 2 terms in office. Mali's military board said that they had set the transition period at 24 months. A return to civilian rule following double coups in the country will be delayed until March 2024. It is on state television that the spokesperson for the transitional authorities read a decree signed by ruler Assimi Goïta. The news comes just a few days after the ECOWAS summit. The regional bloc imposed sanctions on Mali last January, rejecting what they call an unacceptable timetable for the reins of the country to return to a civilian-led government. Mali parliament approved in February a charter allowing a 5-year democratic transition. A technical committee of ECOWAS proposed the organization of polls within 12 or 16 months. The regional bloc has yet to comment on this official transitional period. They will meet again on July 3rd.
The President of the Transition, Head of State, having regard to the Constitution, having regard to the Transition Charter, having regard to Law Number 2022-001 of February the 25th, 2022, revising the Transition Charter, having regard to Decree Number 2021-0361/PTRM of June 7, 2021, appointing Prime Minister, decrees. Article number 1. The duration of the transition in Mali is set at 24 months as of March 26, 2022, in accordance with Article 22 of Law Number 2022-001 of February the 25th, 2022, revising the Transition Charter.
And we have come to the end of this news brief, and you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. And before our farewells, we say goodbye with the song Es Nuestra América, It's Our America, performed by Mayito Rivera with Alexander José Gil Domínguez, Hijo del Sur, and Aquiles Rengifo, Aquilín, a melody that celebrates our union as a continent. For TeleSUR English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.
Un canto por la América Unida. Mira, que lo escuchan allá arriba. ¡Vamos! Somos la tierra, somos la arcilla, la esperanza que brota y germina. 500 años nos han pisoteado, aquí seguimos, de aquí no nos vamos. América, América, América,
hermanos. Todos los países digan presente. Venezuela y Cuba presente.
Nicaragua, Honduras
presente. El Caribe entero.
América, un continente se levanta, un pueblo unido que no calla.
No se detiene.
América es nuestra América. Un continente se levanta, un pueblo unido que no calla.
Soy Tupacatari, soy hueca y puro, 5 siglos resistiendo el atropello y el abuso. En la vía ya la reflorece.